In all of my 29 years of life, I've started to realize the things that make me happy and the things that move me forward in life. And we're going to talk about those in this video. What's up, guys? My name is Tim Roswick, and if you're new here, I want you to consider subscribing because we post daily content just like this on the channel, and I think you should see it. Real quick, why don't you throw your suggestion for the key to happiness down below? What do you think people need to do or say or act like in order to be happy? Leave whatever you think it is down below. All right, so let's get started. First of all, I just want to say that, like, I'm not always happy. I'm not the happiest dude. In fact, I posted a video about me being depressed a couple weeks ago. So, you know, take that at what it is. So I don't think I'm qualified to necessarily talk about happiness. But one thing that I think is safe for me to say about myself is that I believe that I'm somewhat self-aware and I pay attention to myself. It's one of the reasons why I've been able to share a lot of content on YouTube. It's one of the reasons why I've been able to, like, really learn things and teach things to my community, is because I pay attention to the way that I think and the way that I feel and the way that I act. And because of that, it's taught me a lot about myself and a lot about humans, really. And I think for me, like, if there's one thing that I've noticed over and over again, I think I've noticed this a couple times in life, but I want to refer specifically to the video I posted about me being depressed. If you haven't seen that link above, I'm kind of embarrassed of it, to be honest, but you know, it is what it is. I posted it. I start that video by talking about IGF Awards and how I wanted to be a GDC and I wasn't. It didn't occur to me at the time that my depression might actually be related to those things. And funnily enough, if funnily is a word, I actually did not intend to sit down and make a video about depression. I intended to make a video about IGF and GDC and wanting to be there. And it turned into a video about depression. And then because of the video, I actually titled it, you know, what I titled it. What I realized was, like, my expectations were way off of reality. Yes, I was doing good, but my expectations were like, boom, they were way above what I was actually doing. I started to pay attention to that because, like, that caught me off guard. That was not my plan at all, and I didn't even really notice it until I was rewatching the video. Like, holy shit, that has nothing to do with depression. Wait, maybe it does. That's how I started the video, and it helped to see that on camera, right? Like, okay, that makes total sense now. But when I was doing it, I didn't make anything of it. And looking back in life, I start to realize, like, the times that I'm happiest, the times that I'm most fulfilled, the times that I feel like life is going good are the times when my expectations are in line with the reality. When the things that I think should happen do happen. And what I realized was, like, this is Tony Robbins material, and I've heard this 100 times because I've listened to his stuff, I've read his books, I've heard it around, but it didn't really click for me. I can't change the world, the reality, the how things are. I can't change the things that happen to me. I can't change you know, external factors that I have no control over. But I can change my expectations about those things. And that was really powerful for me. That was really kind of, it was like an epiphany in a way. And when I was watching that video and I was saying, oh, holy shit, I'm depressed. And the first thing that I open up with is me being on stage, winning awards for a game that I don't even have done yet. Like, of course I'm gonna fucking be upset about that. Like, those expectations are so much higher than where I'm at in reality. And I think it's good to have goals, right? You should definitely strive for those things. But I think expectations and goals are two different things. I think goals are where you're headed. Expectations are where you think you should be. And I think we get caught sometimes in life. We get caught in places where we have expectations that are just unrealistic. They're unrealistic of ourselves, of the people around us, of, you know, just things that should happen daily. We expect to learn quicker than we should. We expect to, you know, start out and finish our first MMORPG with our first ever game. We expect to sit down and just, you know, learn pixel art super quick. And life doesn't work according to our rules. Life does its own thing. When you set up those improper expectations, when you think that this should happen and this ends up happening, you have to learn how to kind of take a step back and say, okay, my expectations were off, you know, because you can't always get it right. You can't always see the future and know what to expect all the time. But not knowing what to expect is how you live life. That's just part of the human experience. But learning how to manage your expectations and change them and modify them when you're faced with that new reality, when you're faced with that epiphany or that thing that you learn, or you come to the time where you learn the new thing that changes how you expect things. When your expectations are really strong and they're in your face and those things happen, they can discourage you. They make you really, really, really unhappy. My mom, all the time, whenever I talk to her, she's always worried about something. She's always super, super worried. And she worries a lot. And I always tell her, why are you spending all this mental energy worrying? Like, you're worried about something happened to the dog, you're worrying about something happened to us, you're worried about getting fired at work, you're worried about, like, all stuff that really has no basis in reality. But those are her expectations, and because of that, it makes it really difficult in some situations to act accordingly, to act confident, to go out and do things, you know, that would maybe leave the dog behind, for example. Her expectations are all these negative things, and I've tried to talk to her about it, and it's just like, it's so clear when I see it in her, right? But it's so much harder when I look back at myself and I say, what is going on here? What are my expectations? What are the realities here? And you know, going through this whole cycle of depression, especially this last cycle, has kind of opened my eyes, because one, like, I realized my expectations were they're just way off. They don't make sense. Part of it is ego. Part of it is just me having completely unrealistic expectations of where I should be. And then three, like, I'm also, as much as I make videos about underestimating workloads, I continue to do that. I think everyone does. We always underestimate our workloads. We're always going to have scope creep. We're always going to have these things that I make 100 videos about. They're part of game development, but they're part of, like, creative work in general. Things are going to happen. Things are going to go wrong, and you have to expect those things to happen. There's an old saying, you should expect the worst and hope for the best. You always want to hope for the best outcome. You always want to hope things go good, but I think you always want to have proper expectations for the things that are going to happen, because if you have expectations that things are going to go really well and they don't, you know, you can be upset about it. But at the same time, if you have expectations that things are going to be really, really bad, you may not put yourself in the situation that you need to be in to succeed. You may, the actions that you take may not be the same as they would if you were confident in your thing. So I feel like there's a middle ground there, somewhere in between super crazy unrealistic expectations and super negative worry expectations. I feel like there's a middle spot, and it's hard. It's hard to find that spot. I've been trying to find it myself, and I don't think there's a right way. I don't think there's a method. I don't think there's a thing that you do to get there. I just think it's something you got to learn, and you got to constantly bring yourself back to base on. And I've really been monitoring myself, especially since I posted that depression video. And I've found that when I properly set my expectations, I feel like I have better days. And when I look back in life and the things that I did during those happy days and those better days are usually, my expectations meet my reality. Definitely not something I would have expected, but it's something that I've definitely noticed. And it's interesting when I pay attention to it, because I think it's really helped me kind of, I wouldn't say fix my issue, but I think manage my issue a little bit more and become more human. if that means anything. Become more, I think it's just helped me in general kind of embrace who I am and not get brought down by some of these things that really don't matter in life. And I can be myself and focus on my goals and focus on becoming who I want to be, not expecting to already be there. And I feel like that's the important point here. So that's all I got for you. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I'm always grateful of people sharing their thoughts on this, because you guys help me learn just as much as I help you learn. So leave that stuff down below. But once again, my name is Tim Ruswick, and I'll see you again tomorrow.